No one in Mark's family remembered when the old radio stopped working. It had been sitting on a shelf in the living room for years, untouched, covered in a thin layer of dust. It didn't even have working batteries anymore. That's why the first time it turned on, no one believed it. It happened late at night, just past 2 a.m. Mark was in his room when he heard it, a low, crackling sound, faint but steady. At first, he thought it was coming from outside, maybe a car or interference from something electrical. But as he stepped into the hallway, the sound became clearer. It was coming from the living room. When he walked in, the radio was on. A dull orange glow lit up its display, even though it hadn't been plugged in for years. The speaker emitted soft static, uneven and distorted. Mark just stood there, staring at it. For a moment, he thought maybe someone in the house had turned it on, but everyone else was asleep. Slowly, he stepped closer. The static shifted slightly, rising and falling like it was trying to form something. Then it stopped, and a voice came through. Mark. He froze. The voice wasn't loud, it wasn't even clear, but it said his name. He leaned closer, his heart starting to pound. The radio crackled again, then went silent, just like that. The next morning he told his parents. They laughed it off, saying it must have been a dream. The radio didn't work, it couldn't. But the next night, it happened again. This time he was ready. The moment he heard the static, he went straight to the living room. The radio was already on. The sound was louder now, more focused. He stood there, waiting. Mark. The voice came again, clearer this time. It sounded close, too close. "Who is this?" he asked, his voice shaking. For a few seconds, there was only static. Then the voice answered, "You left me." A chill ran through him. He stepped back slowly. "I don't know what you're talking about." The static grew louder, harsher. Then the voice cut through it again, sharper this time. "You weren't supposed to forget." The radio suddenly went silent, completely dead. Mark unplugged it the next day, even though it hadn't been plugged in before. He took the batteries out. There were none. It didn't make sense. Days passed without anything happening. He almost convinced himself it was just his imagination. Until one night, he heard the static again. But this time, it wasn't coming from the radio. It was coming from his room. Slowly, he turned toward his desk. His phone was lying there, screen black, but from its speaker, the same static whispered quietly. Then the voice came back, clearer than ever, right next to him. "I'm closer now." Story 2. The Man in Every Photo. Elena never believed in anything paranormal. She loved photography because it captured reality, proof of what was actually there. That's why the first photo didn't bother her. It was just a group picture from a weekend trip with friends. When she looked through the photos later, she noticed something slightly off. In the background, far behind them, there was a man, standing still, watching. She didn't remember anyone being there, but it wasn't unusual. Public places had people. She ignored it. A few days later, she took more photos, this time in a completely different location, miles away. That night, as she reviewed them, she felt a strange sense of déjà vu. In the background of one of the pictures, the same man was there, same posture, same stillness, watching. Her stomach tightened slightly. It was probably coincidence, someone who looked similar. It happened. But then, it happened again, and again. Different days, different places, parks, streets, even once outside her own apartment building. The man was always there, always in the background, never interacting with anyone else, just watching her. Elena started going back through older photos, ones she had taken months ago. Her hands began to shake as she scrolled. He was there too, in pictures she had already seen before, pictures she was sure didn't have anyone like that in them. But now he was there, always far enough to seem unimportant, but always visible, always facing her. She showed the photos to a friend. He frowned, confused. "There's no one there," he said. "What are you talking about?" She grabbed the phone, pointing directly at the figure. "Right there! You don't see him?" Her friend just shook his head. That's when the fear really set in. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the photos, about how the man appeared even in old pictures. It didn't make sense. Around 3 a.m., she finally got up and checked her camera again. She opened the most recent photo, and her breath caught. The man wasn't in the background anymore. He was closer, much closer, standing just a few feet behind her. His face was still hard to make out, blurred slightly, like the camera couldn't fully capture it. But his eyes, they were clear, and they were looking directly at her. Elena slowly lowered the phone. Her room felt too quiet, too still. Then she noticed something in the reflection of her dark screen, a shape behind her. She froze. Every instinct told her not to turn around, but she did. There was nothing there, just her empty room. Her chest rose and fell rapidly as she looked back at the phone. The photo had changed again. The man was gone, completely gone. But in his place, there was something else. A shadow, much larger. And it wasn't behind her anymore. It was standing right in front of her. Story 3. The door that shouldn't exist. When Alex moved into his new apartment, everything seemed normal. It was small, quiet, and cheap enough that he didn't question it too much. The layout was simple: bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, and a short hallway connecting them. At the end of the hallway, there was a blank wall. At least, that's how he remembered it. For the first week, nothing felt off. Until one night, he got up to get a glass of water. As he walked down the hallway, he stopped. There was a door, right at the end, where the wall should have been. He stared at it, confused. Maybe he had just never noticed it before. It was plain, painted the same color as the walls, with no handle, just a smooth surface with a faint outline. He reached out and touched it. It felt real, solid, but something about it felt wrong. He stepped back, deciding to ignore it. The next morning, the door was gone, just a blank wall again. Alex frowned, staring at it. Maybe he had been half asleep. That had to be it. But the next night it was back, same place, same shape. This time he didn't touch it. He just stood there, staring, trying to understand. And then, slowly, the door began to open. There was no sound, no handle turning. It just moved. A small gap appeared, revealing darkness inside. Not normal darkness. It looked deeper, thicker, like it wasn't just a room behind it. Alex felt a cold wave of fear, but he couldn't look away. The gap widened slightly, and from inside, something shifted. He couldn't see it clearly, just movement, slow, careful, like something was waiting for him to come closer. He stumbled back, turning on the lights. The door slammed shut instantly, gone again, just a wall. He didn't sleep that night. The next day, he tried to convince himself it wasn't real. Stress, lack of sleep. But deep down, he knew it didn't feel like a dream. That night, he avoided the hallway completely. He stayed in his room, lights on, trying to distract himself. Around 2 a.m. he heard it, a soft creaking sound, coming from the hallway. He froze. It happened again, slow, deliberate, like a door opening. He didn't want to check. Every instinct told him to stay where he was. But after a few minutes, the silence became worse. Slowly, he stepped into the hallway. The door was open, wider than before. The darkness inside felt almost alive, shifting slightly. And then he saw it. Something standing just inside, tall, still, watching him. Alex backed away slowly, his heart racing. Then the thing inside moved forward, just one step, and the door opened wider. That's when Alex realized something that made his blood run cold. The hallway behind the door didn't lead into another room. It looked exactly like his own. Same walls, same lights, same layout. And in that hallway, he could see himself, standing there, watching. But the other version of him smiled first. If you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share your scary story in the comments.